Hey everybody, this is addisuns. Today I'm going to do a special podcast with my best friend of 14 years. Her name is Shelby, and we're going to go ahead and do a little trivia quiz today. Just to get a little deep and personal and intimate and maybe cry, who knows. This is completely different than my other podcasts. It doesn't really have anything to do with like decolonization or identity, but I feel like it'll still be a fun little exercise. So why don't you introduce yourself?
What would you like me to say?
Whatever you want.
I don't...
Just make sure you talk to the mic.
Yes, sir. I really love discussing like a variety of different topics. I love just like having intellectual like conversations with people, and I'm really excited to do this activity because I feel like it will be good to just like expand my mind and also to like, I don't know, have like a building like exercise. I don't know.
Sweet.
I'm excited.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started, and I'll be asking all the questions and I'll let Shelby answer, and when she's done answering each question I'll go ahead and give my answer, and we could just like expand from there and see where it takes us. So the first question is saying, given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want as a dinner guest?
I think about that question often, actually. So like, my dream, like in my head, is that one day I'm gonna win like Oscars and shit. So I want to like hang out with like really talented artsy people. And one of my favorite people on the planet is Meryl Streep. So I really want her as a dinner guest. Or like, ooh, that's so hard. But yeah, she'd be definitely like, and Drew Barrymore.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. I love them. What about you?
For me, I don't know. It's complicated. Because I don't really like idolize that many celebrities.
Yeah. But
the two that would come to mind would be my favorite artists, which you already know is Janelle Monáe. Yes, Janelle Monáe and Frank Ocean. Ooh. I feel like it would either be those or it would be Jonathan Van Ness, because such a queen.
Yes, a queen.
Just because I want to hear like her politics, and I would love to discuss music with her. I've been a fan droid for years.
You have.
So, and
I got into her because of you.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I definitely one of those three people for me.
I always just think about like, I really want to be able to like create a circle of like really good people that are like doing different awesome things in the world, regardless of like what they're like well known for, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And I feel like it can be really hard to be idolized, and like I'm sure people like hear these kind of conversations. People say like, who would be your number one dinner guest be? Like, because that's a question on like Tinder and Bumble.
Yeah.
And things like that, you know. So it's like, I wonder how many other people have said like Meryl Streep or like Janelle Monáe.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. I wonder if Janelle Monáe ever thought that she would be somebody's like answer to that question.
Of course, she's an icon.
Like, I know, but like she's just iconic.
Honestly, that's what I look for when I look up to people that are celebrities. I want to look into more than what the arts or what they're doing. I want to look at what they're doing for people. So Janelle Monáe, like, she always spoke to me, and I know that was purposeful, like with her music. Like certain songs she would write, like her song Cold War, like it just comes across as her internalized pain and her trying to express it to people. This is before she came out as a queer woman, you know. And for me, I totally relate to that, because I was totally blind to the fact that she was queer until she came out. Even though a lot of people were like, well, duh, she's a woman wearing tuxedos and you could just tell she's gay. But I never, for me, I never really looked at her like that. And
right, that was just her style.
yeah, and for her to just come out, and I'm just realizing the 3 people I chose are all queer people.
Look at your evolution.
Right? And yes, that's
that is the theme.
But, just her activism and what she's doing is so important, and I love her. And like, I think Frank Ocean is just such an enigma, and I love to just pick his brain as far as music goes.
Yes.
And then Jonathan Van Ness, like, he's such a queen, like such an icon, like.
I just want to listen to him talk all day.
Right, like that's what I'm saying.
Anything.
You need to get on this podcast because getting curious.
I
know you have it, but you need to start listening, girl. Like.
Look, it's been really hard for me to like retain any like thing that I have to listen to be honest.
Just listen to one episode, you'll be hooked.
I'll try my best.
Okay, so let's get on to the second question.
Okay.
Would you like to be famous, and in what way?
Ultimately, I want to say like I don't like the term famous, but yes. Also, just because I have come to accept the fact that I'm a really creative person and I have a lot of ideas and I really love to write and I have so many books that I want to write and like screenplays and movie scripts and all these things, and I really do like, I feel like just like the Oscars are one of like the most like rewarding things that you can get as like a filmmaker. And I am so inspired by like filmmakers and artists and like in every shape and form, and want to be part of that world, and I want to be able to give back also. Like coming from this low income household of like a single parent, I want to be able to take care of myself and not worry about what's going to happen, and I want to be able to take care of my mom and whoever needs it, and like still give back to the places that I came from. Because I wouldn't be who I am without where I came from,
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say like I want to be like famous, because like I don't want to necessarily be, I mean like I know people would look up to me, but like I'm not trying to aim to be a role model at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So in what way would you want to be famous? As a book writer, or?
I want to be known as a book writer and like a writer for movies.
I could totally see that. Yeah. You could be the next J.K. Rowling.
Kind of fun too. Yeah. I have a book that I've been writing for the last like 4 or 5 years that I was supposed to publish in March, and I got so behind with just like life, so I need to finish editing it, but then it's supposed to go on to like Kindle, so I just need to finish it.
Oh, girl, do that.
I know. Okay, what about you?
For me, I don't know. Like, I try to think about what talents I could have or what would make me famous. And I don't know. I feel like for me, it would probably be music if I had a knack for that, because I love making music and I love listening to music. But I don't know if where I'm at right now, like if my music could mean anything. I haven't like made a song in a while, and I just produce beats and stuff like that. But even if I was just to be like a producer for somebody, that would be enough for me. But I also like to push myself to do more. Like, I've had that dusty ass keyboard and that guitar sitting in my room for years, and I still don't know how to fucking play.
Teach yourself.
Yeah, I know.
Janelle taught herself how to play instruments.
That's true. And then Prince like plays every instrument in all of his songs. Like, and then also me being in band throughout the years in high school, playing the trumpet, and I never learned how to read music.
Never forget when you just decided to. Your dad got you the trumpet, and you were just so happy with what you got.
The reason I played trumpet was because of Victoria. Remember I told you that? Like, because she was already in band, and like I was joining band, and I was like, what instrument should I play? I really want to do drums. And Victoria was like, no, don't do drums, everyone else is already doing drums. And so I was like, oh, okay, I guess I have to pick something else.
Should have just done drums.
I should have done drums, but
Dude, I've always wanted to play drums. You should have done it.
I know. I had to let Victoria get to me.
Fucking fuck. Fucking fuck.
But yeah, I mean, if I was to become famous, I think it would definitely be music, and then I would use that platform once I'm famous to kind of break out into more things, such as how Janelle Monáe's done with her activism.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely want to put indigenous voices out in the spotlight. Because looking out there as far as music or fame in general, how many Native people do you see that are famous? How many Native artists or movie stars do you see? Like, not that many. Like, no. So I feel like if I was to become famous, that's what I would want to use my fame for, is like, you know, putting that shit out there. So
I can relate to a lot of that too, especially like becoming the age that we are. I've been getting more into like politics and like giving a shit about what happens, and I want to be able to use my voice and my platform, like whether it's professionally or like on social networks and shit like that. Like, I'm not gonna let things slide like older generations have, and I would definitely want to do that with like my platform if I were in a position of privilege and power like that.
Definitely.
Because you can't, it's just like really naive to come from the environments that we did and not be able to acknowledge that like we should help rebuild our communities if we have the opportunity to do so. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. Wouldn't want it any other way. Okay, let's see. Number 3 is, before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you're gonna say and why?
Depends on who I'm calling. Sometimes. I get really bad social anxiety when having to call like credit card companies or like DSHS.
Girl.
So sometimes I do, or like when I am like fighting with a friend and I have to like call them for the first time after not talking. I have to like prepare myself and like breathe in and out.
Oh yeah.
What about you?
I guess. Okay, so if it's a personal phone call, never. I really just go with the flow, even if some drama's going on. But second of all, I hate phone calls. But the only time I do rehearse the phone call is when it's like a place of business or just business in general. Yeah. I automatically think about having to turn on my white guy voice, and then I rehearse that in my mind. And I'm like, hello, this is Addison Sandoval, and I'm calling here. I'm press 1 for your movie ticket. Like, I totally code switch and just turn into like the white guy voice, so like people will take me seriously, and yeah. So that's pretty much the only time I rehearse what I'm gonna say, is when it's like when I'm calling a place of business.
I relate to that hardcore, especially with like professionalism too. Like, oh god. When I was working in the middle school sector and like having to contact colleges or like other people, I hated having to put on my white person voice. It's so annoying. It makes me uncomfortable. But
it gets you places, so, which is sad, but
yes,
it is what it is.
I acknowledge my privilege.
Okay, number 4 is, what would constitute a perfect day for you?
Perfect day?
Yeah.
A day where I don't have to worry about homework or finances.
Or use your AK.
Can't relate. Or like just really negative bullshit where I can just like sleep and wake up and like go do whatever I want to do and just like relax and feel well rested.
Okay. For me, the perfect day would have to be me waking up hella early, feeling really rested, and being able to get up before the rest of the world wakes up, being able to grab a hot cup of joe and walk outside in the backyard and just see the fog and the dew and the birds chirping
and feel the crisp air.
Yeah, and if I was able to smoke, like, spark up a blunt, like that's how I want to start my day. You know, and throughout that day, I would want to have a lot of adventure, a lot of just carefree, non-structured memories where me and my loved ones, we go do something that's like totally fun and spontaneous. Like, let's go to Seattle today. Let's go to Pike's Place, or let's go hiking in the forest today. You know, let's go on a shopping spree and not even care about how much money. You know, just that type of thing.
Yep, I relate.
Eating at the best places that we could find, and
just enjoying food and not worrying about how fat you'll feel later.
Yeah, because I mean, I always feel fat, so it's like, who cares? and just like having really personal, fun time with the people I love. So just, you know how like we used to do back in the trap house, where we just like, you know, like smoke 16 blunts and just talk about deep shit all the time, and you know, and if we were like sober looking outside looking in, we would be like, what the fuck? But in our own minds, we're just like having a good time, you know.
And it was normal.
Yeah, like just that kind of day, like, you know, just having a good time. And then like at the end of the day, you don't need to be drunk or high to fall asleep. You could just fall asleep without having to worry about it or think about anything, and just, you know, fall asleep with a smile on your face, is like knowing I'm gonna remember this day for the rest of my life. Like, that to me would be the perfect day.
Retweet.
Retweet. So yeah, let's see. Number 5 is, when did you last sing to yourself or to someone else?
This morning and last night, I sing to myself and my cat all the time.
And girl, we were singing Keisha Cole in the car too.
Oh yeah. Okay, that was the most recent time.
So yeah, I guess that answers it for both of us. We were singing Keisha Cole in the car before we came here, and love her. She's amazing.
Ironically, we were singing Love.
Love. Because, I mean, what else would you sing by Keisha Cole?
Nothing.
Oh, that's shade.
I mean, no, I would sing. There's other good songs, but like...
Like Let It Go.
Oh.
Let it go.
I want your man.
But I gotta like that. And then you gotta be like that. Oh my god. I'm sorry, Missy.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. If you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind or the body of a 30-year-old for the last 6 years of your life, which one would you choose?
Wait.
So, living
So
at
like
at
90 to 96, or like...
No, so...
94 to 90.
So basically, you're 90 years old.
Okay.
And the past 60 years of your life, would
60?
you... Yeah. Would you rather have the mind of a 30-year-old or the body of a 30-year-old? And why?
Mind. Because your body, just like, you have to be happy with the body that you're given and take care of it. And I mean, people live to be well into their 90s and they're still, I mean, yeah, they're really tiny and frail, but like, they eat healthy and take care of themselves. You don't have to like have somebody wipe your butt for you. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I'd want to be able to still feed the academic side of my brain and like learn and like be on my wits and have my humor intact, because I'm one funny bitch, you know, and remember my family. And
yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I think I would also pick the mind of a 30-year-old because, I mean, we're almost 30 right now. And I personally could say I do not have the ideal body for a 30-year-old.
Me neither, bitch.
Like, girl, I'm trying to lose at least 50 pounds. And
let me lose 100. That'll be good.
I'm trying to get back to my depressed body where I was like skinny and I could see my ribs.
Body, okay. Let me go back to when I was like 10.
But no, like, I definitely would pick mind over body because,
for sure,
I mean, Who's looking at a 9-year-old to fuck anyways? I mean, I'm sure they're out there. I mean, if I got money...
Look, if you were in a nursing home, you know that there's, like, old people that be fucking, and then they get in trouble.
Well, that's on them.
That's their problem.
That's their problem.
Next.
I just gotta say it now. I mean, I definitely want to keep my mind till I die. Because, I mean, looking back at, like... I've never had to deal with a relative or anyone I know personally deteriorate in their mind as they get older, because my grandmother died of cancer when she was like in her early 60s.
Yeah.
You know, but that's something I do think about, you know. It's like, I don't know what kind of life you could have as someone who's elderly with your mind deteriorating. I think back to my Thea, Sister Angela. I don't know if you know her. She was a nun.
Yeah.
And she recently passed. Well, she passed away like 2 years ago.
That's so sad.
But up until the last time I saw her, she had the sharpest mind. You know, she could recall all these stories and she could make witty jokes and all that stuff. And I think that if I was to live old, that's how I would want to be, even if my body was not functioning as well.
Yeah.
I feel like your mind is what keeps you there, and
I agree.
So that's what I would want for myself.
I agree.
Okay. Number 7 is, do you have a secret hunch about how you would die?
I don't want to answer this question. I don't want to project it into the... Okay. Real shit. I think I have a superpower that when I say certain things from the universe, they happen. And so I'm not trying to answer.
So just don't say anything and you're never gonna die.
Precisely.
Okay, it may be the depression in me, but I don't care. I'm gonna say it.
Continue. This might be the depression.
Basically, I feel like I'm gonna die of cancer.
What the fuck, Addie?
I'm just being real.
No. Oh, I really hope that doesn't happen.
I mean, we all gotta die somehow.
Stop. I don't want that to be how you go.
I mean, I don't either. No one wants to die, but I feel like the way I'm gonna die is gonna be cancer. Like, just because my grandma died that way. And, you know, we were talking about cysts before we recorded this. Yeah. And you seen that cyst I got on my back. I also have a mole on the side of my stomach that is black and irregular. And I've had that shit since like 2012, but I feel like it might be cancer. I need to get that checked, but in my mind, I'm just thinking cancer. Like the other day, I was drinking alcohol alone by myself, and I got like super depressed, and I started crying because I looked at that mole in the mirror, and I was like, I'm gonna die of cancer. And so that,
God, Addie.
I mean, we all think about dying. It's just like, how are you gonna go?
I also think I'm gonna die of cancer because I have lumps in my breasts.
Girl,
I've had them looked at twice, and they keep telling me that there's nothing there, but like they keep growing. So they're either just like follicles or like I don't know. So
you ever think about getting them removed?
My breasts?
No.
Or
your lumps, your
yeah.
lady lumps.
Chicken ass. Please. Yeah. I have a referral from my primary care physician. For me to go. I just don't have insurance right now. So.
Yeah. Fucking American healthcare system. If we were in
telling
fucking...
me that there's nothing there, but like I'm like, bro, they like it's like literally in the same spot, but like this one is bigger than the other.
So like, was that like a mammogram?
I've gotten like ultrasounds. I've had mammograms.
Does that shit hurt? I feel like that would hurt.
Nothing
Like,
hurts.
it's like squeezing your tit on like some...
No, they just like feel.
Oh. I thought they like squeeze your tit on like some glass or something. It's like...
No.
Oh.
What?
I saw that on Family Guy.
I hate you. No, they literally just basically catch a feel on my titty.
Oh, okay. Just like what they do with testicles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cough for me.
Okay. Let's see. Number 8. Name 3 things that you and your partner appear to have in common.
Can't relate. Next question.
Same here. We're single for fucking life. So I should have read that in my mind before saying it. Now I'm more depressed.
Oh.
Okay,
Except this wine.
number 9. For what in your life do you feel most grateful?
My mother.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So for your viewers and your listeners, my mom has raised me basically on her own, but with the assistance of like my grandma and my aunt and my uncle.
Just go ahead and tell
Yeah.
me.
So I grew up with my family, but like I didn't have like a dad or anything like that, and so it's always just been me and my mom my whole entire life. And last year she got really sick, and we found out that she had cirrhosis of the liver, and it started to affect her kidneys, and it was just this huge, scary process because, you know, they kept saying that she was going to die or that she should have died, and I am an only child, and it was just like, I didn't know how to process or handle the situation. My friends were, like, dropping everything to try and help me and, like, be there, but, like, going through that kind of situation, like, you don't really know, like, how to process that information, and I was quite in denial, and not ready to accept the fact that, like, my mom was dying. So the fact that my mom is still alive, she completely turned around. She's healthy. She's, you know, living a normal life. She's living on her own for the first time in her entire life. Granted, it's 2.5 hours away from me, but, you know, she's kicking and she's working and doing things we didn't think she was going to be able to do, and she's been really supportive of me going back to school for graduate school, and offered to buy textbooks that I have for my classes so that she can read with me and, like, help me understand what I'm learning. I didn't even buy my own textbooks. I'm borrowing them from another professor. Like, yeah. So I was like, no, you don't need to do that. No, thank you. I can just scan them and send them to you. So, yeah, my mom's my favorite person in the entire world, and our relationship is getting a lot better than it was when I was a child.
That's good.
Because I used to be the parent, and she was the child.
I remember.
Yeah, and I think this last year it's finally turned around, and it feels like she's like wanting to help me, and I'm finally letting her. And she's like, I know that one day when you're rich and you're making money, you'll like return it, or like you'll help me too. So I was like, yeah, you're right. That's my plan.
I definitely see that. Your mom is an amazing person. She really has a lot of personality.
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, you remember when your mom would like take me to school in the mornings? Like she would, like, in that old the Chevy van. I think it was your grandma's car, and
the Lumina.
Yeah, and she would stop. You and her would stop by my house to pick me up for school, and
How many times did that happen?
it happened a lot.
I don't remember that. We drove with Kayla, like.
Well, Kayla's mom also drove us,
Are
but
you talking about to Mount Tahoma?
yeah, to Mount Tahoma.
Okay.
And no, it must have been middle school because this was like earlier in our relationship, and basically.
Anyway, my grandma would. Sounds.
No, your grandma would too, but like there were some times where your mom would take us.
Okay.
Anyways,
Sorry.
I would tell my dad, I was like, yeah, Shelby's mom is gonna take us to school, and so Shelby's mom will pull up. Your mom will pull up with the window down, and I got in the car. You remember, right?
Yeah, you told me this story.
I got in the car, and then as we were pulling away, my dad sent me this text message, and he was so mad. He's like, "Who is that? Who are you taking? Who's taking you to school? Blah blah blah." And I'll be like, "Dad, that's Shelby's mom," because he was like, "Who's that man taking you to school?"
She's so gay. I love it.
And I was like, I never spoke anything about gay shit to my dad before, but I was like, Dad, that's Shelby's mom. She's a lesbian. And like, and my dad was like, oh, okay, have a good day, son. But my dad
He's probably like, what the fuck?
No, because that was a time where like my dad thought I was like doing drugs because like he didn't like. like the group of people I was hanging around with, because like in middle school, like, you know how like all the quote unquote rockers would hang out like in front of the gray middle school sign before school, and like he would see like Zach and Kenyon like wearing trip pants and, you know, dyed hair and Fago, like all this shit. Magic. So like, I mean, he was right, but it's just not about me doing drugs. Like, you know, like,
did he think I did drugs?
I don't know, but he just basically was like, he felt like I was doing drugs because of the people I was hanging around.
Okay, interesting.
And I wouldn't blame him, because everyone except for like pretty much me and you was doing drugs.
We were literally so innocent. I didn't smoke weed for the first time literally until the week before prom.
I didn't smoke weed until like I was already in college. So
I was 18, man.
Like I was such a straight edge Christian boy. Like
fuck off, buddy. You were a Christian boy for 1 year of your... Stop it.
You need to listen to my last podcast. I talk about it.
Okay.
I talk about how I was like, I don't want my friends to cuss. I'm not gonna cuss. Oh yeah, okay.
That's the phase that we literally call you Christian Addy.
Okay, but if you listen to my podcast, you realize how sad and deep it gets. It relates to me being insecure about my sexuality and not wanting to go to hell because I'm gay.
I know, we've talked about it.
Yeah, so it's deeper than that.
I feel for you.
I mean, you just didn't grow up in a religious family, so...
I didn't, so I
my family was nuns, so...
Literally. I have a nun in my family, too. I discovered that.
I was born knowing that.
Well, I didn't. I just discovered it.
Yeah.
But anyway, next question.
next question. Okay. Oh, wait, no. Not next question. I didn't answer.
Oh, fuck. I thought you already... Sorry, go.
Who do you think I'm most grateful for?
Ooh, that's hard.
It's very similar to yours, so it shouldn't be hard.
Your dad.
Exactly.
Well, that's what I was like... Yeah.
Of course.
Frank.
My dad is the most amazing parent I could ever ask for. He's someone I want to be as a parent if I ever become a parent.
Yeah.
Because he put his children first for 27 years plus. Before himself, before anyone else. It's always been his kids. Everything he did was for his kids. You know, like, we were living in LA in the early 90s, and he decided to move us up to Washington. It was either going to be Washington or Wisconsin because of how good the economy was and all that stuff. And he chose Washington, and the rest is history. You know, like, he made sure that I had all the opportunities and every single thing I ever needed. I never went without a meal. I never went without like electricity or a shelter or my own bed ever in my life. You know, he did it all on his own. Like, I only had one parent my whole life. I mean, I've had step parents, but you know, just he is everything that I needed. Like,
yeah.
I didn't grow up feeling sad or sorry that I never had a mom. I didn't even question it because I was happy with what I had. And like I was talking about in my last podcast, to have a parent who loves you so unconditionally that, like, obviously you're raising a gay child from the very beginnings, because I know you didn't listen to all the podcasts, but I'll just tell you, like, as a kid, I had Chantel, my cousin, and Sasha, An's daughter or stepdaughter, as my friends. They were older than me, so like I looked up to them. You know, they were my closest friends, and so I did what they did, and that means I was playing Barbies with them. That means we were playing dress up. We're doing girl stuff because that's what they did. Yeah. You know, so my dad supported me on all that. Like, I would tell my dad, I want Barbies. So my dad would go to the toy store and buy me Barbies. You know, like, I wanted, do you know what candies are, like, for the shoe brand? Like,
yes.
Yeah, so that was like a thing back in the 90s. Like, gotta have your candies. And that was a girl's shoe. And I told my dad, I was like, I want candies, and he bought me candies. You know, like.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like a big thing, but like.
But it is.
Yeah, like, can you think about how many dads would buy their sons Barbies and girls clothes?
Not in the 90s.
Like, that, to me, that's a big thing because he allowed me to be myself and supported what I wanted to do. Like, I remember one time, we got a random package in the mail, and it was a Backstreet Boys and a Britney Spears CD and a CD and a CD player. You know, like
From where?
Nowhere apparently to my dad, but I knew it was him. I knew he ordered the CD, the mobile CD player and the CDs for me. And it's like,
oh my god, which CDs?
it was
This is important.
it was the first Backstreet Boys album, and then it was Britney Spears' first CD, and then the Millennium album he bought me afterwards. But he acted like, oh, someone bought this for you. It just came in the mail. And I'm like, okay, Dad, I know. Like, now looking back, I know it was you. But like, you know, like, how many dads would buy their sons boy band and Britney Spears, you know, CDs because he heard me singing that song on the radio.
Which one?
I Want It That Way.
Yeah. Tell me why.
And he was like, oh, that's the songs that Addison likes. Okay, I'm gonna 1-800 this number to order this CD.
1-800.
You know how they did back in the day.
Yeah. Infomercials.
Yeah, and so like, especially coming from like a Mexican American background where machismo is very, you know, heavy, and you know, like the boys got to be like this. No, my dad didn't care about that, you know.
Yeah.
But also, like, I was multifaceted, and I loved Barbies and I loved Hot Wheels, and my dad supported me in all the ways that I can, and that's why, for me, I am most grateful to him.
Yeah.
Because I can't see who I would be if he didn't accept me for who I was growing up. That's something I never had to worry about. And so he's done amazing things. Like we've traveled thousands of miles across the United States just for his kids. You know, and how many fathers can say that?
Not mine.
Oh, girl, that's shade. So, to me, that's why I have to say the person in my life I'm most grateful for is my dad. Just because he's the MVP in my life.
Frank is the best.
Even today, like, he texted me saying he bought me a lawnmower. Like, I borrowed his lawnmower and I didn't realize that I broke it somehow. He told me, like, he had to take it in to get fixed, and I guess the gas I was using from On's gas tank was super old and rusted, and it was mixed with water, so it ruined his lawnmower. And he didn't even tell me, and he paid for it. His lawnmower got fixed, and he told me he bought me a Honda lawnmower. Yeah, so I mean, honestly, like, I want to cry. Like, my dad just always supports me and accepts me for who I am. Like, that's the difference. I hate when people say, are you gonna, like, you gotta tolerate this group of people? Like, no. Tolerate means that there's an issue and you just gotta deal with it. Acceptance means, like, you totally take in who this group of people, this person is for who they are. And that's what my dad does. He accepts. He doesn't tolerate.
My mom's the same way.
So that's why, that's who I'm grateful for no matter what.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Number 10. It says, if you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be?
Where do I begin? I wish I would have had consistency and not move around so much and have to witness so many shady and inappropriate things. But also I acknowledge that I am the person I am because of the things that I've been through. But I wish that somebody would have held me more and said, like, you're gonna be okay, and not make me feel like I have to, like, be responsible for other people, you know?
Yeah.
I wish I could have been a kid. That's my answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess for me, I'm coming off the coattails of explaining how I'm grateful for my dad.
Yeah.
I don't want to take anything away from that.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't regret for a second how much I had to move around. Because I've been to, like, I feel like it's like 15 plus elementary schools and, like,
11 for me.
And I've moved around from Washington to California to Arkansas and back multiple times.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's made me who I am.
Yeah.
And I don't regret that, but I think for my part, if I was to change how I was raised, it would be the affection part. Because my father is an amazing dad, but I feel like I didn't get enough affection. Like, physical affection as a kid.
For sure. I don't think you did either.
That you would expect from, like, a mother would give.
Yeah.
Just because there are times where I see that other people need affection and I immediately don't know how to act, and I don't know, like, I know I should be giving physical affection, but I just don't know how to do it without feeling awkward or,
Yeah.
Or there's times where I see family members and friends, and I want to give them, like, hugs and, just be on them, and affectionate, but I feel like that's not who I am, so it would be weird if I did that. But also, I feel like because I don't do that, it's creating that standard of me not doing that, so that's why it's weird if I was to do that. So if I was just to start doing that, it wouldn't be weird.
Can I point something out about you that I don't feel like you remember about yourself?
Yeah.
You haven't always been this way.
Really?
You were, like, affectionate when we were like in, like, the early stages of high school. I mean, like, you would pummel me and, like, attack me and, like, hug me and, like, literally squeeze me to where I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
So, like, and I know that you did that with our other friends too.
I remember that. I feel like that was,
like, so I don't know when that started and when that ended. I mean, I really do remember that, especially, like, freshman and sophomore year of high school.
Yeah.
You were like that. And maybe that's when you were, like, starting to kind of, like, find yourself a little bit more. I don't know. But then, like, I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like because the friend group that we had during middle school and high school was kind of like an escape for me, in a sense that I was able to express myself in ways that I was never able to express myself before.
I relate to that a lot.
Especially within my family.
Yeah.
And so me expressing affection for you guys, I was able to do it without, I don't know, like, just doing it without feeling weird about it, and just being like
with ease.
Yeah, like, I love you, and I want you to know it, even if it's me being over the top and extreme, like.
Yes.
And as I got older, I was like, okay, I'm trying to learn about how people my age act, and trying to, like, learn about my sexuality and stuff like that, and what physical contact means, and
Yeah.
I don't know, like, looking now, I feel like that's something that I still lack.
For sure.
And for now, for me now, like, the only person I can give affection to is Buddy. Like,
That's okay.
my dog, and, like, I give him.
You've been through a lot of emotional trauma then.
Yeah.
So I feel like, not to be a therapist on you for a minute, but, like, that's why. It's because you've had a lot of people come and go in your life, and not be able to give you that emotional consistency for you to be able to provide that, like, emotional support. You know what I mean? So, like,
Yeah.
you can give it to Buddy because Buddy gives it back to you, and he's been at your side since the beginning of, like, this roller coaster that's been the last 6 years of your life.
Yeah.
You
I totally see what you mean, because I think a lot of the issues I have with being close to people and affectionate comes from the fact that I have insecurities about how long is someone going to be in my life.
Yeah.
And maybe that does come from the fact that as a kid, I did move around a lot, and
Yeah.
and as far as the mother figures in my life came and went a lot, and I remember last time, like, I don't know if I told you, but like I was tripping with like my siblings at
Did you fart?
no.
Sorry.
When I was tripping with I'm at the Gig Harbor house
Yeah.
with my siblings.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
And we really got into deep conversation, and I was just talking about how, like, I feel like it's hard for me to be close to the motherly figures in my life because I feel like they're just gonna go.
Yeah.
And
Which is valid.
and that's why I feel like it's hard for me to be open with Miss Janice because there's a part of
Cynthia.
Miss Cynthia, Victoria, like just all the women in my dad's life that have come and gone. And I don't want this to be like make my dad feel bad because my dad's trying to find his happiness too.
Yeah.
And I understand how much he must have to think about, like, how it affects his kids. But for me, never having a mother in my life, it's just like, who is going to be my mother? Am I going to have one?
Right.
And if I do, for how long? And I was telling, because Jordan, you know Jordan.
Yeah.
She was there when I was, having that conversation, and I was telling Jordan, I was like, Miss Janice is the most amazing thing that's ever happened to my life, ever.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because I don't know how to express that to her. And I remember Jordan was saying, she's like, just like that. You tell her just like that.
That's beautiful.
And it makes me like emotional because I feel like if I was to have a mother, it would definitely be her.
Yeah. I agree.
And she's
a really wonderful person.
She is. And like there's always a part of me that feels scared that like she's not gonna be in my life forever. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I can't get close to her because if I do, I'm gonna be really hurt if she goes.
So I feel like that's really valid, but also like if things didn't work out between your dad and her, you're an adult and you can make your own decisions and you can choose to tell her like, I love you and you are the best mother figure that I've had in my life and I would love to stay in contact with you, please. And leave it in her hands.
Yeah.
Rather than, I mean, every other woman that's come in and out, like, I don't know what happened with Miss Cynthia, but, like, your dad's had a lot of power and say in, like, the contact that you have with people when they leave. And I can relate a lot to that because you know how I feel about, like, my mom and some of her ex-girlfriends. Trina is the one that, like, I have always loved. And she's back in my life when we go to dinner. We are working and talking through things. And you deserve that consistency, too. And to be able to learn how to express those things. It's not easy. But it would be a really big step for you to make that outreach if that were to happen.
Yeah.
But I feel like just being open and honest with her and telling her, like, you could even write, like, just, like, a thank you card. Just, I really appreciate everything that you do for us. I know I don't always tell you how much I appreciate you, but, just put it into words, and you can get her flowers and just give her the card. It doesn't have to be anything super elaborate. You could even, what you could do for her? You could do that and get her, like, her certificate for a spa day.
Yeah.
So that she can go and relax and have, like, a Janice day.
And that's kind of what Jordan told me too. She was like, even if you have those worries, like, you shouldn't have those worries because of what an amazing person that she is.
Yeah.
She wouldn't let that stop, anything when it comes to my relationship with her because I can tell that she loves all of my father's kids unconditionally.
Yeah, I can tell. Even just meeting her the couple of times that I have. She's a really wonderful person. I like her a lot.
And to me, like, it takes me back because I'm like, I've never met a motherly figure like that.
Yeah.
I've never felt that unconditional love from anyone other than my father. So when I feel that from her, it's like I don't know how to deal with that.
You just feel it.
Yeah.
I know it's a strange concept and it's unfamiliar, but that's just a part of emotional growth too. It's just literally embracing, like, if you feel like you need to cry, then you cry. And you don't always need to, like, know what to say to show somebody that you love and appreciate them. You have your own love language, and you need to find out what that is. Take those quizzes or whatever, or just, if you know what type of things she likes, do something thoughtful. Things from the heart are better, and that goes a long way.
Yeah. Okay. So that's question number 10 out of 35. So let's continue. Number 11 says, take 4 minutes and tell your partner your life story as much in detail as possible. So clearly me and you don't have life partners and we know each other's life stories. So we don't really need to go through that. So I guess number 12.
Okay.
Number 12, it says, if you could wake up tomorrow having gained any one ability or quality, what would it be? And I'm going to let you take over because I have to go pee.
Okay. An ability or quality? That's hard. When I think of questions like this, I try not to feel like it's going to be a really selfish answer because I don't think of myself as like a selfish person. I guess maybe the ability to absorb information at more rapid speeds, I guess. And I think a lot of that comes from being insecure about my intelligence level, and just like people have always made me feel like I'm stupid and like I don't know what I'm talking about. And like being in grad school right now, like I'm struggling with that a lot, and just feel like it really resonates with me. And so I feel like not just for school purposes, but just like I love learning and I love growing and just learning about different subjects. And I feel like that would be a really cool power for me. I was saying I feel like for me, I'd want to be able to absorb like different kinds of knowledge at like a rapid speed.
Mm-hmm.
So like I could just touch books and like take in all of the information and like be able to know everything essentially.
Yeah.
Because I've been so like insecure about feeling intelligent my entire life. And people have always made me feel stupid and like I don't know what I'm talking about. So then I would have all of the knowledge and I could do whatever I wanted to do with my life and not feel insecure about like whether I can succeed or not. What about you?
For me, let's see. If you could wake up tomorrow having gained any quality or ability, what would it be? That's a tough one. I would have to say, honestly, probably like quality or ability. I could easily say like superhero shit and be like, I wish I could fly, but being realistic, I would have to say having motivation and determination.
Amen.
More than I have now because, right? Just because I feel like I let a lot of my emotions and my self-doubts get in the way of what I know I need to do to better myself. So I feel like if I had more motivation and determination and drive, I can accomplish anything I wanted to. You know, like I've been said, the career path I have now is not something I want for the rest of my life. But I also know it would be ignorant of me to choose anything else other than what I'm doing right now. Because it's giving me a lot of stability and security right now.
Yeah.
But if I was to put myself in a position where I had other options that also can give me that stability and security, I wouldn't have to feel this way about what I'm doing with my life right now. But I'm also not doing anything to get myself there. So if I was to have the motivation to get myself to where I wanted to be, I feel like I could be a lot happier as a person, regardless of me feeling lonely or feeling alone. Because I feel like you could be a successful, accomplished, happy person and be alone, if that were to be the case. You know, I'm not going to be no Cinderella waiting for no, no prince. But I could be my own prince if I was able to build myself up to be that person.
Amen.
So that's pretty much what I would say, the quality or ability I would give myself. So moving on to number 13, it says, if a crystal ball could tell the truth about yourself, your life, the future, or anything else, what would you want to know?
I don't know. I go and get my cards read often, and, like, see mediums, and I always want to know about the future and, like, talk to spirits and shit like that. So I feel like I'd want to know more about my future, but I don't have, like, a particular question in mind. I guess I would leave it up to, like, what messages are meant for me at the time that I would see the crystal ball, I guess.
Would you possibly want to know more about your parentage and the stuff you're going through as far as the ancestry stuff?
Why do I feel like you're a CNN reporter asking me this question? Yes, I would like to know.
Because from what I understand, you're at this point where, I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
No, it's okay.
To where you took the ancestry test, but you don't want to believe it.
No.
So you're believing what you believed before you took the test.
I mean, I believe that, like, that those numbers could be accurate, because, like, I feel like knowing what I know about, like, those who have tried to colonize, like, Mexico, like, some of these numbers could be because of that and, like, where my family comes from, but I don't feel like... I feel like my dad is my dad as much as I don't want him to be, because I look a lot like him and my brother. Like, it's uncanny. And I would like to do another test, and then if it was the same, then I'd accept my fate. Like, I'm not the type of person that needs, like, third time a charm type shit. But I don't know. It just, ever since I got the results and they didn't match up, it's just felt weird for me. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if I could believe it, because a part of me is just like, no. Like, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, and I can understand that. I mean, if I took a DNA test and it said that I was completely white, I would have some issues as well.
Yeah, you'd be like, am I adopted?
Yeah. So I could see that. For me, as far as telling the truth about myself, my life, or the future, or anything else I would want to know, I guess going back to the things that I do on my platform online, I would definitely want that crystal ball to tell me where I come from specifically, because I know I'm an indigenous person. I know 51% of my DNA is Native American, but I want to know from where, from what tribe, from what area, what culture, and when was it lost, and why was it lost.
For sure.
That'd
be really cool to find out.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's pretty much the only thing I would want from that crystal ball, because it would be more validating for me, and also it would shut up a lot of people who want to tell me that I'm not Native American because I don't know what tribe I come from.
And who the fuck are they to tell you what you are and what you aren't? Like, People just love to shut you down and, like, give you their own labels. You know who the fuck you are, and you're still discovering it and doing your own research. And that really angers me that you have to deal with people like that.
I appreciate that. Because I feel like those same people would not blink twice if Obama was to say he's African.
That's literally, I was about to say you're like Barack Obama. So I'm glad you said it. We're the same person.
Just because those people don't question that black people are black, even if they don't know which tribe they come from in Africa.
Amen.
So why can't Mexican mestizo people like myself claim to be indigenous without people saying, well, how do you know you're indigenous? I'm like, you know what? I see the indigenous blood in my family. My family is brown. They look indigenous. You know, just because we don't know our tribe does not mean we're not indigenous.
Amen.
So that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
And that's what I have to say about that.
So number 14. Is there something that you've dreamed about doing for a long time? And why haven't you done it?
Publishing a book, and I haven't done it because I'm a lazy piece of shit. And it takes a lot out of me to sit and do the editing that I need to do. And I've just been really depressed. So I need somebody to help me keep myself accountable. And so once I can push through it and, like, organize my time wisely, then I'll do it.
That's valid.
What about you?
For me, it would have to be travel the world. That's something I really want to do. And the reason why I haven't done it is because I haven't made any steps towards making that happen myself. I had the opportunity in college to study abroad, but I chose to go the path of becoming an RA because I thought that my leadership should continue from high school on to college. And ultimately, neither of those things happened. But I feel like me traveling abroad to other parts of the world would have been more beneficial to me in the long run.
I agree.
And I just ended up not doing that. So it's something that I still want to do. It's something that I see my friends doing. And all I could do is live vicariously through them via Snapchat and Instagram stories. And when I think about it, I have nothing really holding me back. Like, all I have is my doggo, and I'm pretty sure I could have someone watch him while I go travel the world. But I choose not to because of me trying to build whatever life I have now in this new career path that I've chosen for myself.
You can still do those things, though, and take advantage of vacation time. And go somewhere for, like, a weekend. You don't have to start big.
That's true. I need to do that. I feel like now
you have a savings, boy. Like,
I have a savings, and I have like 70 something hours of vacation time. I don't know. I feel like I don't want to do it by myself. I want to experience it with somebody else because I don't want to go travel the world by myself. That sounds vulnerable and scary to me.
Let's go travel then.
Is that something that you're down for?
Yeah, I love traveling with Jenny when we went to New Orleans.
But this is like more than New Orleans. Like, if we were to do this, could you do it? Like, if I could do it?
What do you mean?
Like, as far as like finances and passports and all that stuff goes.
Start saving for my job. That's why I want to be able to get a permanent job so I personally really love traveling. And being able to go to New Orleans because of school and stuff, like, I'm going to start being smarter about my money, especially getting it back from school. I need to plan out trips, and yeah, it's something that I do want to do. So yeah. Okay,
well, you heard it here first. Shelby said she could do it with me, so
travel with
so me. Yeah, that's gonna happen. All right.
My heavy feet are so warm.
All right, number 14. If there is something that you've dreamed about doing for a long time, and why? Oh wait,
no,
we just read that one. Okay. Okay. What is the greatest accomplishment of your life?
Getting into my master's program, because it's something that I never thought I could do. And I finally found out what I want to do with my life, and it feels validating. And the fact that I am so good at what I do that I basically get my school paid for
That's amazing.
without having to take out loans.
That is legit.
Well, I've taken out some loans, but like not really. Like I took out a loan for the summer, but still got it back. So, anyways.
I'd have to say, to a lesser extent, for me, it would be similarly going to college for the small amount of time that I was able to do. For me, that is probably one of my greatest accomplishments. Another one of my greatest accomplishments to me would have to be building platforms that is able to reach the amount of people that I have so far, as far as sharing my experience and growing in my identity and who I am, and sharing that with other people to help them discover who they are and learning their own identities, as far as questioning, who they are and what they were taught. I feel like that's pretty much the greatest accomplishments I've done.
I'm proud of you for the person that you've become and how open you've been. You've always been really good at social media, though, so this was just bound to happen, I feel like.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Number 16. What do you value most in a friendship?
Compassion. If you can't sympathize or empathize for the things that your most closest friends are going through, then what's the point of being a friend? I don't need you to support me, like, in any other way, but to just, like, hear me. I don't need a response. I just need to be heard and loved sometimes.
I definitely can feel you on that. I feel like empathy is probably the biggest thing I would value in a friendship or relationship, because it's one thing to sympathize with somebody, but to empathize means that you could totally feel what the other person is going through and why they're feeling that way. And to me, that is true understanding, and that's all you could really ask for from a friend, is to understand you and to understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
A lot of people would say loyalty or, just other things like that. But to me, as long as you understand me and what I'm going through, then you can be yourself and you can act accordingly. And for me, I feel like empathy is definitely what I would value most in a friendship.
I think that's a really good one.
Number 17 is, what is your most treasured memory?
I don't know. Ever?
Yeah, I guess ever.
How about because we're doing this on your podcast, I do my most treasured memory with you.
Okay.
My most treasured memory with you is when we were going to Bible study. And you would keep drinking so much lemonade and water to where you would always have to run and go pee. And
Speaking of which.
No, you're not leaving me again.
Okay, I'll go pee next question, but go ahead.
Okay. And you would, like, leave me outside on the porch with the lady. What was her name?
I never knew her name, honestly.
It's so scary. We just let this random lady come and try to talk to us about Jehovah. And then you would, like, as she was, like, reading, you would dig your nails into my legs. And then she would make me answer questions, and you'd be like, yes, Sylvia. Because that's what she thought my name was like Sylvia, but like Sylvia.
Oh my god.
And then whatever happened? How did we decide that we weren't doing that anymore?
I eventually told her this is something I didn't want to do anymore, and she stopped coming. She accepted that.
That's nice.
I mean, honestly, from the beginning, I showed disinterest, but I feel like my dad wanted me to do something with religion because I don't know why, but so
Your family's religious.
yeah, so he encouraged it, but yeah, I was like, no thanks. So for us, I guess my most treasured memory would have to be just us every morning in high school.
Yeah.
You would call me and be like, are you up? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm getting up now. And you would meet me in the corner of my street, and we would just walk to school every morning. And we would get there super early before anyone else.
6 a.m.
Yeah, and then we would just sit there in the cafeteria tables, and I would play Mario Kart on my pink DS, and we would
Sometimes we go online.
yeah, and then we would just watch as the cafeteria filled with students before school started.
It's the same people and the same patterns every day, so we knew who went to school.
Yes. And we would just sit there, you know, and we would do that every single day.
Addy TV.
Oh my god, Addy TV. Tell me why Shelby peed. That video got like thousands of views for whatever reason.
Why do we have to breathe this out?
Oh my god. But honestly, yeah, that's my most treasured memory with us. And number 18 is the opposite. Is what's your most terrible memory? And I'm gonna let you have the mic while I go pee and think about that.
Are we sticking to the theme of most terrible memory of me and you?
I mean, we don't have to because I really don't want to hear it. But if you gotta, go ahead and spill the tea.
I don't know what I want to. Oh, this is hard to decide. Oh. I don't know, guys. What do I decide? Do I do my worst memory with Addie? My worst memory of myself? This is like really hard to think about. Because I've had a lot of really bad things happen to me, but I don't know what would be the worst. It's not like you can like sit there and rate the really like shittiest things that have ever happened to you that are traumatizing. And I don't necessarily know it's the worst thing that's ever happened between me and Addie, because like we fought a lot, like over really dumb fucking things too. I'm still trying to decide. Oh God.
You really haven't figured out a fucked up thing in your life?
Well, like, I didn't know if I wanted to do, like, terrible with you or, like, just life.
Well, honestly, in just life in general, I already know what I want to talk about. So.
Oh, I know. Then if we're talking about life in general, I have an answer.
So then go ahead, speak your truth, homegirl.
My sexual assault is probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Yeah,
Let's go through it then, if you're willing.
Sure. I mean, like, I don't know. It's been... August will be like 5 years since it's happened, and it literally happened like the last time that you were actually at St. Martin's with me.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like when me, you, Jerry, and Narissa went out to Jake's, and I went back to my apartment.
Was that Halloween?
No, that was in August.
Oh, okay.
Of 2015, and after I got dropped off, he picked me up at like 1. I went to his house, and then all the things that happened. And so, like, I didn't realize it was sexual assault until I was like explaining what happened to the group chat, and Narissa was like, that sounds like rape.
Yeah.
So, I'm actually going through a period where I've been talking with my counselor, and I think I want to start learning how to report it.
Yeah.
So I want to report it before the 5-year mark, because then that's when they usually like throw out exam kits and stuff.
Yeah.
So who knows if there will be anything on there, because there was like a condom at one point, but like who fucking knows? I don't know. So excuse me. My body's like no. So yeah, that's the most horrible thing that's happened. It's still created a lot of trauma for me. I have a lot of commitment issues with men. I have PTSD. I have developed OCD. I have control issues. I got issues.
Okay.
What about you?
I appreciate you sharing that.
Thanks.
For me, I guess I definitely want to put it on the record, not to compete or anything, but
Yeah.
I've been sexually assaulted too.
I feel like maybe we talked about it.
We probably have. After this episode's over, we could talk about it. But yeah, I've been sexually assaulted before in a grinder hookup, and it was something that, just like you, I would not have realized it was sexual assault until after I really started talking about it. But it definitely happened. But I don't know if for me I'm strong enough to not let that affect me in such a way, or if maybe I haven't processed it, or maybe both. But for me, that wasn't the worst memory that's happened in my life. The worst thing that's happened in my life was the day that I found out that me and my dad were completely alone after, and I know you remember the day that happened, the day that Victoria walked out and took the kids.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that.
And it was the morning when your mom or your grandma would always pick me up in front of my house to take us to school. And for whatever reason, I decided not to tell you guys until after I got to school. But Victoria had the van packed up with everything that she could take in the house and all the kids. I remember she woke me up to get some of her books from my room, and she said, "Don't you dare even think about telling your dad right now." And I couldn't tell my dad because we were behind on our cell phone bills, so my cell phone didn't even work. It only worked to where you can call and text me, but I couldn't call or text out. So I couldn't even tell my dad if I wanted to while he was at work. So the only person I really could talk to was you and your mom, but I decided not to say anything until after your mom took us to school. And then I was like, yeah, Victoria's taking everything and the kids and she's moving out. And I remember throughout the whole day of school just thinking about that. And when I got home from school, I just see my dad standing in the living room, and it was completely empty. And he was just standing there, and it was just me and him. And then, like, he gave me a hug, and we were crying together. You know, and that began the custody battle that lasted like 2.5 years. And that was just the worst, for me, the worst point, just because I've never seen my dad in that way, like, feeling so bad.
Yeah. I'll never forget that period of your life.
So, for me, I'd have to say that's the worst memory. Like, none of my worst memories really have to do with me. It relates to, like, my family. I guess personally, like I was saying before this podcast, like the darkest point of my life was like that period where I lost all my friends and you know, my best friend and all that stuff. But I was an adult then, but I was a kid at the time that all that stuff happened, so I had no control over anything. And to me, that would be the worst point in my life.
I think that's incredibly valid.
So moving on, number 19 is, if you knew that in 1 year you would die suddenly, what would you change anything about the way you're living now, and why?
Oh, God. That's really intense. I guess I would try to live a little bit healthier, and maybe like do all the things that I want to do so that I feel like I accomplished all the things that I wanted to in my life as much as I could, that I have control over. Nothing outrageous.
Yeah.
Like win a Nobel Peace Prize or what the fuck ever.
Yeah.
But live happy.
Oh.
What about you?
Yeah, I think if I was to find out that I would die suddenly, what I would do is I would celebrate life as much as I can in that one year that I have. I would try to make amends with everyone that I could, which at this point I feel like I've already done. I feel like everyone in my life that I could make amends with, I've already reached out to and tried to make amends with. But if I knew I was gonna die in a year, I would probably do that again and say, hey, I'm about to die. So, not to make you feel bad or anything, but
I want closure before I die.
yeah, I want closure. So the only two people I would see myself doing that with would be the dude that I fell in love with and the person that gave me birth. Those are the only two people I feel like I would give.
Insane.
Why?
Because those are just two polar opposite people, but they both really affected you.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, those are the
Crazy.
those are the two people that I would feel like I would want to make amends with, or at least let them know how I feel and where I stand, because like, bro, I'm dying. So, not to make you feel bad or anything, but if you got anything you want to get off your chest, now's the time. So I'd be like, yeah, and then I don't know, just like quit my job, obviously, and throw parties every night and just be like, bro, like, let's smoke weed and let's drink and let's just talk and have a good time. Let's watch some movies. Like, let's get deep, because I don't got that much time left. So that's pretty much what I would do, is just celebrate life as much as I could before I'm about to like kick the bucket.
Yes.
So let me see. That's number 19. Number 20 is, what does friendship mean to you?
You feel like Anderson Cooper right now. It's like a microphone, literally. What does friendship mean to you? It means family. It means love. It means sometimes being a shoulder to lean on when your friends can't hold themselves up. But that also doesn't mean that, like, at your own dispense, I guess. That's the word I'm looking for. Expense, thank you. Dispense. Yeah. LOL. Dispensary. It means laughter and, like, good times and being able to be yourself in a safe space.
Yeah. I totally can relate to that. I think what friendship means to me is definitely family. It's someone who understands you and the deepest parts of you that you really don't show to anyone else other than other family members. Friendship is a family that you choose. It's the family that you want to be there without any other obligations. Because when you think of family, the obligation is your blood or your heritage. But friendship to me is the family that you choose to be there regardless of blood or family or heritage. It's the family that you choose, and yeah, it's the people that you want to be there on your best times, on your worst times. It's the people that you want to be there when you're figuring out who you are, when you're just having a good time, when you're not having a good time. It's the people that you want to experience your life with you. To me, that's what a true friendship is. Like, you always have people that you're acquaintance with, but what I value most in a friendship has to be, it's people who are going to listen to all your ignorant stories that have no ending or no real purpose, or who are going to remember all of the smallest details of who you are, what someone else would not. That, to me, that's what a real friendship is. And when you find someone who does know those things about you, you better hold on tight and do not let those motherfuckers go, because
he typically comes to
Okay, sorry. The recording got cut off. But anyways, like I was saying, if you find those people who fill those attributes in your life, you better hold on tight to those motherfuckers and do not let them go, because those are the people who really got your back. If you got a person who is gonna listen to your whole story or anything you got to say and they're gonna remember it, hold on to those people, because those are the people who matter and those are the people who count. Not just the people who are listening to you to wait until they could speak their piece. Like, hold on to the people who are listening to you and who will remember your piece, and then they want to speak their piece, and that you're going to remember their piece. Those are the people that I think are true friends, and those are the people that you should hold on to as a friendship.
I always say listen with your heart and not with your mind.
100%. Okay. Let's see. Did you already answer that question?
Yes.
Okay. So, going on to number 17. What is your most...
We already did 17.
Oh, that's right. Treasure memory, charitable membership. If you knew your addisuns, blah, blah, blah. What is... Oh, friends. Okay. What roles do love and affection play in your life? Number 20.
They're very complicated, and I don't do well with them. I don't know how to accept affection without feeling uncomfortable, and I crave love and want to give it to other people, but I freak people out with how much love I have inside of me, so they run away. So it's a complicated relationship. God bless.
Thank you.
So yeah.
That's valid, because I feel the same exact way. What roles do love and affection play in your life? And to be honest with you, Diane,
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised. Like, we already touched on this earlier as far as me, but love and affection in my life, it doesn't play a very big role as far, like, and I'm not trying to say that I was never loved.
Right.
But just different ways that people show love and affection, I feel like that part is absent in my life, because there's ways that I feel like I should have been shown and felt love, and I wasn't. And I don't want to blame that on anybody, because I'm not expecting any one person to be everything I need. You know?
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but the truth is, I wasn't given everything I need when it comes to love and affection, because I don't know how to give it to other people. So,
it's shown what you know as love and affection is not what other people know.
yes, like for me, like the way I know how to give love and affection is basically verbally and explaining how I feel. And while all of that is good and nice, it's not what everyone needs all the time. It's definitely not what I need all the time. But that's the only way I know how to express my love and affection, is just to be straight up and be like, yo, I love you because of this, and I love you because you're that, and that's it. But sometimes people need love in physical ways. Sometimes people need love by showing them, you know, just different things. Like, let me give you a gift of something that really resonates with you, because that's how I could show you I love you and understand you as a person. And for me, I feel like that's something that maybe I missed as a kid. So I don't know how to give it myself. So as far as love and affection plays in my life, it doesn't really. I know I'm loved. I know that I'm loved by my family and my friends. I know that. But as far as me giving love and affection, I don't know that. And that's something that I gotta work on.
Amen.
But yeah.
Thank you, therapy.
So yeah, let's see. Where are we at now? Number 22. Alternate sharing something you consider a positive characteristic of your partner. Share a total of 5 times. So I guess we could do that for each other.
Okay.
So sharing a positive characteristic between each other. So I'll start. For you, I feel like you as a person, you have a lot of love and understanding to give. to people, and you take in a lot of stuff that other people can't, that would cause them to shut down or break apart, and you're able to deal with that in yourself when other people couldn't. And I feel like you are someone who understands that you're going through a lot of painful and traumatic things, but you don't let that be an excuse or a reason for you to stay where you're at, or for you to not progress as a person. I feel I feel like you're more aware and more willing to change as a person than the average person. And I feel like you have a lot more forgiveness than the average person would, based off of the things that you've been through and things that you necessarily don't owe other people, but you do it just because of who you are, as opposed to what you feel like you should do.
Yeah. That's me as a person, as a whole.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's so kind. I think for you are... I'm like trying to think of like where I want to begin. You've always been very like welcoming. Like, even if like you usually haven't like met somebody, like you're not gonna be like, don't come into my house. You'll be like, oh hey, like come on in. Like, you don't make people feel like uncomfortable unless like there's a reason for them to like feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like, you just have always been like that, and it took me a really long time to like get to that point with you, but like that's because we were kids, you know. But like who you are now, and like knowing you as like an early adult, like that's just been like who you are. And I think that's why you've been through so many of the things that you've been through, is because you're just like, hey, I'm Addie. But you've been very social also. And that's another thing that I like about you, is how social you are. Because I'm not always social. And I get really awkward and don't know how to like not make myself awkward. And you've always made me have to like embrace awkward situations. Like, I'll never forget when we were at the movies one time and we were taking pictures in the photo booth.
Oh my god, the Twigs?
No.
Okay.
Oh, not the Twigs. No, the time
Go
that
on.
people were talking shit outside of the booth. And I got sad, and we already had one like roll of pictures taken, but we were taking more. And those ones I was like more sad, but you were like trying to make me laugh and doing like dumb poses, and then you literally laid your body on my body and like looked fucking sad. And you were like, fuck those people, like don't let them make you feel like shit. And then like at the end, because you were also acting like you were gonna slit your throat and slit my throat, like that's when I started to laugh. So you always know how to just, like, lighten the mood. I also love, like, you now, like, you do listen. I love that about you now. Like, those are things that, like, you've kind of, like, had ingrained in you since I've known you as a child. But you've evolved so much over time. And this is, like, the Addie that I wish we could have, like... I wish I could have been the Shelby for you that I am now, like, when we were first friends. But now you're, like, the Addie that, like, I need at this point in my life. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I feel like that actually encompasses everything that I just want to say. Like, you are the friend in you that I needed. You got a friend in me, but, like, you are the friend in me that I needed.
I totally understand what
you know what I mean? Yeah!
That makes me so mushy inside.
Oh, I'm so glad. You're like a rotten banana, but like in a good way.
Yes, we can make banana bread.
I have bananas I was gonna make banana bread with.
But my oven doesn't work, so.
Well, like, I can make it in my house and give it to you anytime. But
That.
anyways.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I love. Okay. Let's see. All right, number 23. How close and warm is your family? Do you feel your childhood was happier than most other people's? Question mark. And I'll give it to you.
I have to go and switch my laundry soon.
Okay, well, you do that while I go pee, and then we'll switch off.
Okay. That's hard because I feel like a lot of people always said that they loved how close me and my family were when I was growing up, and that we were like super always just like happy and like able to laugh and have good times, which like, yeah, it was true, but also like we struggled a lot. My mom and my aunt would fight a lot. My mom was an alcoholic, so like a lot of my childhood was really rocky and inconsistent. And right now, like, my family and I don't really talk as much. Like, I talk to my mom more frequently than I talk to anybody. I don't have a relationship with my dad. He's in prison. I kind of talk to my little sister and my stepmom and that, but like my immediate family, I don't really talk to them as much, and it really does make me sad. I actually hosted a family reunion this last summer for the first time for my family, and I organized everything, and it was like a really great feeling, and they were very grateful that I did it, and they want it to be like a yearly thing. So I think I'm getting closer with certain parts of my family because now I'm an adult and I like have social media and I can control the level that I communicate with others. But I definitely wish I was closer with my uncle and my aunt. They are who I grew up looking up to my entire life and wanting to be like them. And I think I'm like the perfect weird mix of both of them, to be honest. It's in some aspects of like my personality, at least. But basically my aunt doesn't want anything to do with anybody right now, and my uncle kind of annoys me. Sorry if you hear this. So he doesn't know how to listen to me and like just say I love you, and I want to know how you're doing. How are you actually doing? Not tell me about your work and your finances, you know. But I'm very grateful for the relationship that I have with my mom, and I wish I saw my grandma more, but I don't drive, so I can't see her as frequent. But I love that old lady too.
Okay. Hurry up, because we gotta go to the next question, girl.
Look, if I can talk, you can talk.
Okay, let's see. So number 23 is, how close and warm is your family? Do you feel your childhood was happier than most other people's? And I guess for me, how close and warm is my family? I would say that my family is close and warm, but we're not as close and warm as I wish we could be. Yeah, so do you feel your childhood was happier than most other people's? And yeah, I would say so, because I mean, looking back at my childhood, I would say that I had everything I needed as far as to live. You know, we moved a lot, but I always had food. I always had shelter. I always had a parent. I always had school. So how could I tell anyone that I'm not happy? Or, you know, I guess looking back and going back to my previous statements, I feel like my family could have been closer and warmer when it comes to like affection and learning how to share love and things like that, because those are things that I definitely needed as a child. And I don't want to blame parent and like my dad or anyone else for me feeling like I needed more, because you can't expect someone to be everything that you need. You know what I'm saying? Like, you only can be grateful for the fact that your parent gives you everything that they are and everything that they have. And living with a single parent is tough. And constantly moving around, that's tough as well. And, just as a kid, you kind of understand that and you get that. So you're not going to, like, put that on your parent. You're not going to be like, oh, I was missing out on this. You're just going to, like, live your life as a child with what you have. So as far as having a warmer family, a lot of families go through shit, and a lot of families, like, have struggles. So what do you expect? Like, no family is perfect, and if you find a family that says or acts like they're perfect, that shit is fake. So it is what it is. So how close and warm is your family? We're as close as we can be. We're as close as we can get, just from what we have to deal with and go from. So yeah.
Sorry.
You're good.
I move slow like a sloth.
So I'm gonna go ahead and spark this blunt for you while we go on to the next question.
Oh, is it gonna be needed for this next question?
I would say for me and you, yeah. So go ahead and put that in your mouth, and I'll light it for you. Yeah. So go ahead.
I don't know. Okay.
It doesn't matter. Get a good pull. All right. So the next question is, how do you feel about your relationship with your mother? As you take another hit.
She's made a lot of sacrifices for me, and I literally wouldn't be surviving right now if it wasn't for my mom. My mom almost dying was the worst thing that's ever happened to me, actually. I don't know why I said my sexual assault. I changed my answer earlier. My mom almost dying is the worst thing that's ever happened to me, because I don't know who I am without her. She gets me through everything, even with all the trauma that I've also experienced with my mom. I wasn't allowing myself to accept her dying because of all that. Like, yes, I still have a lot to work through with my mom, and I'm very angry still about certain things. But she's my everything. I'm her. But I still have a lot of shit that I have to work through, don't get me wrong. That's why I had to take that other hit, because it's like...
I told you this is going to be a big one. Okay. For me, I feel like... I can have multiple answers for this. Because who am I talking about when I say my relationship with my mother? I could be talking about Angela Torres. Yeah, I put you on blast. Angela Torres, the person who gave me birth, or the person who gave me C-section.
C-section baby life.
And, like, if you listen to my last episode, then you already know what I'm going to talk about when it comes to my mother. Like, she was never in my life. She didn't want me as a baby, so my dad took me and raised me. And her seeing me post a picture of the day I was born with her included in it triggered her to say some awful things about me, as far as her wishing she got an abortion and calling me a cocksucker and all these different horrible things. But ultimately, I'm able to separate those things that she said about me with who she is as a person, because I know that comes from her own internalized pain and her own guilt when it comes to her never being in my life.
Amen.
Because even if she says after I was born that she should have gotten an abortion, I know there has to be something to be said about her carrying me in her stomach for 9 months. I know there has to be something that is to be said of her giving birth to me, even though it was a C-section. And even though she didn't take care of me as a baby and raise me after I was born, there's going to be something to be said about me being the second born child of hers, and
She carried to full term.
yeah, that she carried to full term, and she ultimately doesn't know anything about other than what she sees online.
True.
So when it comes to that person as my mother, I don't have a relationship with her. And from what I understand when it comes to her relationship with my father wants nothing to do with her, and he does not like her based off of what she said to me, and probably other things that I don't know anything about in regards to both of their relationship with each other. And that's valid, but for me, I feel like I still want some sort of closure or conversation with her in the future. And I want her to reconcile her feelings with guilt and not being in my life. And I want her to reconcile her feelings of how she feels about me being a queer person, and however she feels about queer people. I want the reconciliation with my brother and sister as far as that conversation goes. But then there's the other mothers I've had in my life, the mother figures that I had in my life, such as my siblings' mother.
Mother fudger.
Yeah, Victoria, and my dad's relationship with her, and how he wants nothing to do with her, but she's the mother of two of his children, and she was the most major motherly figure in my childhood growing up, regardless of me and her having no blood relations. That's something that no one could ever take away. Not a divorce can't take it away. Child, like abuse, spousal abuse, nothing can take that away. None of the issues that our family went through can take that away. The fact that she was a mother figure in my life for so long. And she can...
can't even wish that away.
Yeah, no one can wish that away. And part of me feels like I don't explore that relationship with her because of how I know my dad feels about her. And I'm not just... And I don't want him to say like he's not valid in for feeling the way he feels about her. But also, I feel like the way I feel about her also should be valid, regardless of all the things that she's put our family through. Because she's still the mother of two of my siblings biologically, and she still played a huge role in my life as a motherly figure. And then looking towards other people in my life, as far as my dad's first wife, Pamela, which... You know, that was before Victoria. She was a great woman, and you know, she was one of the first motherly figures in my life. And then later down the road, we have Miss Cynthia, which was also amazing motherly figure in my life, but our family has no contact with anymore. And
So sad.
you know, there was Bianca, which was brief, but she was still a nice woman. And
She was a nice woman.
but then there's Miss Janice, which is probably the most solid motherly figure I would have to say in my life. The most loving and most caring person that I would have to say I can call my mom. And because of everything that I went through and all the stuff in my past, I have the hardest time having a relationship with on my end because of everything else I've been through. And I feel like that's such a shame, because I shouldn't let things that happened to me in the past and my motherly figures affect my relationship with her. Because I cannot find any flaws with her. So I shouldn't have to put any of that on her. But because of my own insecurities about mom figures coming and going in my life, I choose not to explore that. So when it comes to motherly figures in my life, that's pretty much where I'm at with my relationship with the mom. So going back to the list, number 25 is make 3 true we statements each. For instance, we are both in this room feeling blank.
Start.
You want me to start? So 3 true statements that start with we would have to be: we both love each other. We both care about each other. And we are both open enough to express ourselves in each other's company.
That's powerful. We are both thoughtful. We are both the life of the party. And we are both deserving of love and affection.
Hell yeah. Okay, that was an easy one.
Yes.
Complete this sentence. I wish I had someone with whom I could share blank.
I wish I had somebody that I could share, like, my sexual kinks with on a regular basis. And not once a year.
Oh, that is valid.
Thank you. Like a vampire. Or Jeepers Creepers.
I feel like I wish I had someone I could share my vulnerabilities with and my affection.
That too. Retweet.
Retweet. Let's see. If you were going to become a close friend with your partner, please share what would be important for him or her to know.
As my friend?
So if you were to become a close friend with your partner, share what would be important for him or her to know.
I like to share affection very quickly. Like, even when I laugh, like, I like to, like, touch people on their arm and, like, laugh into them, and that's just, like, an instinct. I don't know why. Like, I also realize I slap people's knees, and Victoria gets so mad, because it's always her bad knee that I hit now. Like, I'm sorry. I've had to be more aware. But yeah, I'm very affectionate.
Okay. So I guess if I was to become a close friend with my partner, if I was to ever get one, I would share with him that I am a person that I guess if I was to ever have a partner, I feel like I would be very slow to open up. So I would hope that they could be patient and not to put the effort on them, but to realize that if this was meant to be, that they would have to put some kind of energy towards helping me be more vulnerable with them. Because for me as a person, I feel like it's hard for me to open up to people because I always fear that people are just going to leave me in my life. So I choose not to be close or vulnerable to just anybody.
Retweet again. Retweet with comment. That's powerful.
Okay, so number 28 out of 37. We're almost done. Finally, after 2 hours.
Thank you for sticking around this long.
Right? If you're listening to this still, you obviously are obsessed with us.
Continue.
Tell your partner what you like about them. Be very honest this time, saying things that you might not say to someone that you just met. So I guess since we don't have partners, we could say it to each other.
Well, yeah, who else are we gonna
Right?
say?
I mean, who else would you have? Like, nobody.
Right. how I really feel. Is that what it is?
Tell your partner what you like about them. Be very
what I like
honest.
about them.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like I don't know how to explain. I don't know.
Okay, thank you. That means a lot to me.
I guess the best way that I can I guess I'm not going to answer it in that structure, because I feel like I don't know how to really explain that in a way that I haven't already.
Okay, well
because I've listed all the characteristics and things I like about you. I guess the best way that I can answer this question is you and I have fought a lot in our friendship to where we've taken time apart.
Yeah.
But we always find our way back to each other, and that's just been the theme of our friendship and our relationship. And as frustrating as it's been, and the whack-ass reasons of why we've stopped being friends, I don't know that there's, a reason why. I just, feel weird when you're not in my life.
Yeah.
I feel like there's people in my life that, I know have a purpose, and it feels weird when they're not in my life, and it feels empty, and I don't like that, and so, I feel like I've grown to be a better version of myself when you weren't in my life, but I feel like I needed to be this person for you to come back into my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I feel like we've always joked and said that you are the guy version of me and I am the girl version of you, but I really do feel that way.
Yeah.
I feel like you were the friend that I needed in my formative years.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's a lot easier for me to say the answer for this when it comes to you.
Okay.
I feel like what I like about you is the fact that I could be my complete self around you, and you would totally understand me. And that's something that I don't have with pretty much anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something very valuable, because I could be the most random or say the most out of pocket shit, and you would totally understand me, and other people just be like, what the fuck did you say? But
I'd still be saying that, but I'm okay, bitch.
But you would understand me completely, and we understand each other on a level that other people don't.
Yes.
And I feel like that's something that I'd appreciate. Not many people have a type of friendship where they're able to do that. And so there's so many times when I'm just living my own life, and I'm just damn, I wish Shelby was here, because she would understand what this is, or what I'm going through, or what I meant when I said that.
I relate.
So yes.
Retweet again.
Retweet.
New thing.
Let's see. Number 29. Share with your partner an embarrassing moment of your life.
You already know a lot of my embarrassing moments. They happened more as a child. I'll never get over me falling in front of everybody outside and the big thud that it made when I fell. Or the time that I remember when we were walking and I tripped on the crack of that sidewalk, and I farted when I fell, and there was a guy outside and he laughed.
Or Snot Kano.
Snot Kano was pretty bad. Yeah, that was pretty bad.
For me, shit, what's an embarrassing moment in my life? I don't know. I feel like a lot of things that could have been embarrassing, I turned it into just me being a random person.
Like what?
Just anything I would do, the noises I would make, and
oh fuck.
me just going
Oh my god, in the middle of gym for no reason.
Or remember when I would go back and forth like a noodle on the floor?
Oh my god, yeah, that was so inappropriate. So inappropriate.
I think I just chose to be a really random, weird kid on purpose, just so that way I would never have to feel embarrassed or different, because I would be like, yeah, that's just my...
I already set the boundaries.
Yeah, that's just my brand, bro. So there's nothing...
I gotta stick to my brand.
Yeah,
Yes.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. When did you last cry in front of another person or by yourself?
Well, for you, it was today.
Yeah.
Just now.
Yeah, so I guess I'll answer that. Yeah. I cried when I was talking about motherly figures in my life just now, probably like 40 minutes back in this episode. So go ahead and scroll back if you want to hear me crying. I'm not afraid to be emotional, bish, so what's good?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Those are good.
Yeah, so your turn.
I think for me, it was a couple of days ago when I was watching Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, you're so deep.
No, really. I think that was the last time, and if it wasn't that, it was, I've been getting really sad and going to sleep. Oh, that's a lie. It was not yesterday night, but the night before. I mean, same night that I watched Grey's Anatomy, but I saw one of the Tinder boys that I'm, like, low-key, like, I'm really into him. I saw that he commented on one of the... So it's like, people that you just know, like, on Twitter, and they're all just in the same community type bullshit.
Yeah.
He commented "murder me" on one of her selfies that she uploaded, and I was super pissed. It's complicated. But yeah, I kind of was like, what? Why do I have to sit on this? And then I, shed 2 tears, and then just went to bed.
Okay.
I dealt with it while I was high and just went to bed.
Oh, this next one says, who are the 5 most impactful / important people in your life / who has made you who you are and why?
Ooh, okay, great. DJ Cristostomo, my first go-to. He's now working for Act 6. Did you know that?
That's amazing.
Yeah, he's on their website and everything. If you need help with going to college, you find him. Dominic J. Cristostomo. I just really put him out there on the internet. Okay, so him, my uncle, to a degree, because I wouldn't be in college if it wasn't for him. He's the one that showed me I could do it. Carrie Graham. She's one of my professors at St. Martin's, who, like, made me realize that I want to keep going, and, like, she's the one that got me into this master's program. She's the reason why I'm minored in women's studies. Like, she'd be waving a wand and I'd be doing things. John Hopkins, he's the Multicultural Student Affairs Director for our Diversity and Equity Center at St. Martin's. And I want to do what he does. So he's, like, who I look to for, like, guidance and everything. And then probably my mom. Just because I want better for us, and so that's why I work really hard. What about you?
For me, the 5 most important influential people in my life, I would have to say, number 1, my dad.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, he's given me every opportunity I was ever able to get.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first and best example for me. Number 2 would have to be my Aunt Rosie, because her, as an honors English teacher, she was one of the first people in my family to actually go to college and make something more of her life.
Yeah.
And stress education and structure. And when I lived with her, she really showed that. She gave me that example. And
That's important.
yeah. Number 3, I would have to say my cousin Chantel, because she was like one of my first role models.
One of your first best friends.
Yeah, one of my first best friends. Like, she was like my sister. Let me see. So that's 3. 4 would be my grandmother. She took the place of a mother when I didn't have one. She went above and beyond to make me feel loved and was there for me, and just did everything you would expect a grandmother to do, and did everything you would expect a mother to do. And she did that all on herself. Number 5. That's a tough one. I would have to say maybe my sister Shantia. Because other than Chantel, my sister Shantia was like the first sibling I ever had.
Yeah.
You know, and she was someone that I felt like I could be an example for, and she was someone who was like my best friend and who went through everything I went through in our immediate family, and I could relate to her on a lot of things as far as not having a parent and then moving into this family dynamic to where you have a step parent and, you know, just learning how to live in that situation. And I felt like me and her could connect as close friends and siblings, and, you know, not having her for a long time really affected me. So yeah, I would have to say those people. And not surprisingly, everyone except for my dad was all women.
It's funny because, like, all the women that you said, like, I knew those were all going to be your top 5. And, well, no, I didn't know that Shantia would be in there. But everybody else, I knew. Those are your peeps.
Those are my peeps.
They've made you who you are.
Yeah, that's
Literally.
that's pretty powerful. Okay, so let's see, where are we at? Tell your partner something that you like about them already. I felt like we already kind of discussed that. So, number 32 is what if anything is too serious to be joked about?
Like anything to do with race, diversity. I feel like anything to do with identity.
Yeah.
Because identity isn't something that you just fuck around with.
Yeah.
People get judged for that and want to die because people make fun of them.
I agree. I feel like anything that has to do with identity, as far as race, ethnicity, religion, sexuality, gender identity, disabilities, I feel like things like
Class
sexual
status.
assault and rape, those are things that, honey, let's not joke about them. And I feel like the only time someone really can joke about them is if they went through it themselves, and that's a way for them.
Story.
Yeah, and that's how they choose to deal with and cope with it.
Yep.
But even then, I feel like those people should realize that they didn't understand that there's a time and place for that.
Oh yeah, you can't just like fuck around and be reckless with your words. You can be a survivor, but you can also be aware.
Yeah, like you need to understand your audience and understand who you're joking to, and realize that just because you choose to deal with your own experiences this way, that someone else who went through the same thing might not think that's cool. So as far as what could be joked about, I feel like that's pretty much how I feel. Let's see. Number 33 out of 36. If you were to die this evening with no opportunity to communicate with anyone, what would you most regret about not telling somebody? Why haven't you told them yet?
I'd probably tell Victoria that she's really been hurting my feelings for the last couple of months by keeping me distant and not allowing me to be there for her, and also not being there for me, because we both need each other right now. And I feel like she's allowed other things to like get in the way, and for some reason she wants to not be honest with me like she does with everybody else when she has a problem.
Yeah.
But like it's like, how are you gonna say that you wanna communicate more and that we've been growing and doing better, and then set people back in your progress with building friendships?
Yeah.
So I feel really content in all of my other relationships that I have in my life right now. I've been clearing out the ones that I don't need, and that's the one that I feel like I would have the most resentment with right now. I mean, other than like my uncle and my aunt and shit.
Yeah.
They would know that I love them regardless.
Yeah.
And I know that Victoria would know, but it's still the one thing that I feel like really affects my mental health.
Yeah.
So what about you?
For me, if I was to die, I don't know. Like, I feel like I made an effort to tell everyone how I feel about, just everyone how I feel. you know, I guess the only people that I haven't reached out to that I feel like I would need to is my mother and my siblings on her side. Like, even though I feel like I'm not in the wrong in that situation, I feel like they don't know how I feel. And so, if I was to die today, that's something that I would like them to know.
I think I'd like to add and say I'd also probably regret not saying anything to Kayla.
Kayla? Yeah. I could see that.
That's a whole other wormhole.
I mean, hey, that's...
I don't even know where to begin with that, but I would just regret not having said I loved her, I guess, if anything. To not make it so complicated, because it's complicated.
Yeah. I think that's important to let her know that you love her. Okay, so number 34. Your house containing everything you own catches on fire. After saving your loved ones and your pets, you have time to safely make one final dash to save any one item. What would it be and why?
That's hard. I don't really have anything. Oh, that's a lie. I'd go and I'd save Grandma Bunny's bracelet that I have. I had to really think about that, but that's the thing that came to my mind. It's, other than this little wooden box thingy that I have, it's the only thing of hers that I really have other than a ring. But it's blue diamonds, and it's something that she loved to wear, and have it on my altar in this little glass casing that has sage in it, and her picture's on the outside. So I'd want to grab the picture and the bracelet.
Okay. For me, I don't know. I mean, I could easily say video games. Like, I don't really have anything sentimentally, like physically, that I feel like I would need to save in a fire, because I have a bunch of pictures, but I've uploaded all those pictures onto the internet, so it's not like I would definitely lose them forever.
I have pictures that I'd be sad about. Yes. I could have them resend me a new diploma if I really wanted to.
Yeah, like, I mean, I have personal paperwork, but, like, I mean, I don't really have anything.
Yeah, everything is just, like, material goods. Books, DVDs,
Yeah.
TVs. Those are things that I would die without.
Yeah, so, like, I mean, I really...
If my pets and my humans are safe, then I have everything that I need.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I have anything material that I could not get replaced if it was to burn down.
Agreed.
So, let it burn.
Being good. Let burn, baby, burn.
That's right. Okay, number 35 out of 36. Of all the people in your family, whose death would you find most disturbing, and why?
Disturbing? Like,
Yes.
who that I would have a hard time accepting, essentially?
Yeah, so...
My mom.
Your mom's, yeah.
Yeah, which is why it was so hard for me when she was dying. And if not my mom, my grandma.
I feel you. And for me, it's the same thing with my dad. Like, you know, I have already experienced my grandmother dying, but other than my dad, it would probably have to be my Aunt Rosie, which I know is coming soon with, you know, just elders as time gets older. And I've been thinking about that.
That's really sad.
Yeah, it's scary.
Reach out to her and say you love her.
Yeah, I need to. I've been planning on going to California soon.
That's why my mom called me earlier to tell me she's going to California for Christmas.
Okay.
Like literally the day after Christmas. Funny.
So, all right. Last question. Share a personal problem and ask your partner's advice on how he or she might handle it. Also, ask your partner to reflect back to you on how you seem to be feeling about the problem you've chosen.
I have too many problems. I don't know where to begin. I'm really depressed, and I'm letting my financial bullshit cripple me. I'm letting my anxiety cripple me. my wanting for validation from other people to like try to give me something to feel, but I can't. So I don't really know what to do about the fact that like everything just kind of sucks right now. It's getting a little bit better, but I still find it really hard to motivate myself and to want to do what I know I need to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I feel like I can say I feel you when it comes to financial issues, and I personally, like, I could say that, not to brag, but I don't have those issues anymore.
Right, which is why, like, how did you learn how to start saving?
It's not that I learned, it's just that I had the opportunity and the privileges that were given to me to save. Like, I'm living in this house, all I have to do is pay utilities, and I pay a small rent, and that's it. And then I just pay my car, my insurance, and my cell phone every month, on top of food and my dog. And when it comes to the job I have and how much I make, that's not really that much. I get more in than that's going out. So for the first time in my life, I don't have to worry about financial issues. Now it just comes down to my social. It really just brings my social issues in front and center, which have always been there. But I could always be like, well, I have money and other things that are more important to deal with. But once that's not an issue, then it really shows you that you're not dealing with the social issues that you should have been dealing with or fixing for yourself. So for instance, for me, yeah, I don't have to worry about finances anymore, but I'm so damn lonely. I just, this has been the highlight of, I don't know how, like a month since we found out that we're going to hang out together. Like, that, like, I don't have anything to look forward to, like, other than just 2 days a week I have to myself. I don't have to work, and that's it. And I don't hang out with people anymore. I don't do anything fun. And so that's pretty much how my life has been. And it makes me think, like, is this going to be the rest of my life? And I'm thinking about, like, I'm getting older. At this point, so many people that we went to high school with are having children and getting married, and where am I at? And is it really possible for a gay person to get that at this age? And I don't know. I think about a lot of stuff like that, and when you're comparing your life to other people or what you feel like the standard should be, then it makes you more miserable than you really should be. But at the same time, then it makes you realize, well, if I shouldn't have to live by the standard, then what should I be having for myself at this point? And I have nothing. I mean, I don't have nothing, but I can't come up with anything else I should be having at this point. And that kind of scares me. It's like, well, am I gonna die with with having nothing to give to this earth?
Kind of where I'm going, like what I'm going through right now too is like, yeah, I know I'm in school right now, but like everybody around me is getting married or having babies, and I'm not close to any of that, and I feel like I'm never going to have that because I like get close to it and then it like disappears.
Yeah.
So it's been like a weird midlife crisis that I'm going through. I'm turning 27. It's fucking scary. It's like I was telling you today, our 10-year reunion is coming up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm ready to see what the fuck everybody's going through. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But I feel you on being lonely. I feel lonely too. All of my friends are in a different city.
Yeah.
I feel like all I have are my roommates, to be honest.
Yeah.
They're the people I see every day. They know more than what's going on. I mean, my mom is the only other person, but nobody comes and visits me. I appreciated you coming out and, like, hanging out with me. But, like, I don't do this with people all the time.
Yeah. I mean, my only roommate is my dog, and the highlight of my day is getting off of work and opening the door and having him be extra happy and jumping around when he sees me.
That's beautiful.
You know, yeah, and then like, and me, he knows when I wake up, and like before I even pick my head up in the morning, he like jumps up on the bed and like comes over to my face and is like wagging his tail because he knows I'm awake now. And
that's cute.
yeah, but that's, you know,
the fact that you can have that now because you live on your own.
Yeah.
And he can be in your house.
Yeah.
Is beautiful.
I love my dog.
He's the second best dog I know. Edgar being number 1. And Cody being number 3.
He's my baby boy.
Cody! Come here.
So yeah, after 2 hours and 20 minutes, this is my longest podcast ever, and for most of you, this is probably not what you're expecting.
If you're listening still, like, honestly, you are the MVP. Respect you.
Yeah, honestly, you're either really bored, have nothing else to do, or you're really interested in what we have going on in our lives.
Right.
So,
and if you know us in real life, now you know.
Yeah, so now you know. Hit us up. Stop making us lonely. So anyways, this is a cool, different episode. This is an Addisuns episode, not an Indigenous Unity episode, so...
Addy TV.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and post this, and you could just leave comments or say anything you have to say, if anything resonated with you.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah. I'd be glad to hear it. So thank you so much, and talk to you guys later.